Can you see yourself? One click is all it will take me, and this video of you drunk as a skunk goes straight to your daddy's phone. Then your mummy. Then the whole church WhatsApp group. Can you imagine their faces, their perfect little sister Sarah? Natasha, please. Delete it. I am begging you. Delete it. No. This one is too precious. So let me tell you how your life is going to work from now. Next week, you are going to walk into that exam hall. You are going to sit down. And you are going to write my chemistry paper for me with my name, my matric number, and you are going to pass it beautifully, the way you pass everything, because that is what perfect little Sarah is good for. Natasha, that is impersonation. That is exam malpractice. If they catch me, they will not just fail me, they will expel me. In final year, they will cancel 4 years of my life over one paper. Then, my dear, you had better make sure they do not catch you.
Sarah sat on that bed, reviewing that 90 seconds of video, in a trap that was laid out so perfectly for her. But Natasha did not know that the quiet girl she had spent the entire semester trying to break was about to hand her a lesson she would carry in shame for the rest of her life. Now, to understand how an obedient pastor's daughter ended up cornered like an animal in her own room, I need you to settle in. Let me tell you how this whole thing started. Everyone knows that universities don't let you keep the same dorm room forever. Every new session, they shuffle the hostel, new block, new bunk, new roommate, whether the arrangement pleases you or not. And for Sarah, final year came with its own reshuffling. So on the first day of her last year, Sarah dragged her boxes up the stairs, pushed open the door of her new room, and found somebody already there, unpacking on the top bunk. It was Natasha. Now, Sarah knew Natasha. They had been in the same department for 3 solid years, the same class, the same crowded lecture halls, but knowing a person's face is not the same as knowing the person. For 3 years, they had been nothing more than acquaintances. A nod in the corridor, a "please, can I borrow a pen?" 2 girls orbiting the same course from 2 completely different worlds. Because these 2 could not have been more different if God had designed them on purpose. Sarah was the daughter of pastors, and not just any pastors. Her own mother and father shepherded the campus church, the very church half the school attended every Sunday. Sarah had grown up inside that world, and she carried it quietly. She was disciplined, she read her books, she kept her word. She was top of her class, not because she was showing off, but simply because that was who she had decided to be. People called her Sister Sarah, and some said it with love, and some said it with a small roll of the eyes, but nobody could ever point at her and truthfully say she was a fraud, because she wasn't. Natasha was the exact opposite and proud of it. She was loud where Sarah was quiet, fire where Sarah was water. She knew every party before it happened. She knew every gist, every link-up, every club night in town. She lived like a girl who had decided that youth was a candle and she was going to burn it from both ends at once. And she was popular for it. People loved Natasha the way people love a bonfire, from a nice, warm distance. So when Sarah walked in and saw who her roommate would be, do you know what she felt? Hope. Sarah actually thought, maybe this is God's own arrangement. Maybe by sharing this room, we will finally become real friends. She smiled. She said, "Natasha, we are roommates. This is wonderful." But friendship, my friend, needs 2 hands to clap. And Natasha's hands were already folded. Because here is what Sarah did not understand yet. Natasha had never liked her, not for one single day of those 3 years. And it was not because Sarah had ever wronged her. It was something older and quieter than that. There is a certain kind of person who cannot stand to see you at peace with yourself. Not because you insulted or took something from them, but simply because your calm holds up a mirror and they do not like what stares back at them. To Natasha, Sarah was not a good girl. She was an accusation. Every time Sarah quietly did the right thing, Natasha heard a small voice whisper, "See, you could be like this too, and you are not." And that voice made her furious. So Natasha decided very early that Sarah was a hypocrite. Nobody is that clean, she told her friends. It is because of her parents. She is forming, she is pretending. Give me small time and I will show all of you the real Sarah under all that holy. And that right there became Natasha's project, her mission, to crack the pastor's daughter open and prove to the whole world that she was just as broken as everybody else. At first, it almost looked like friendship.
Sarah, come out now. There is a small get-together tonight. Just come and see. No, thank you. That one is not for me. Sarah, why are you always reading? Skip that boring lecture and come and live small. One night will not kill you. That one is not for me. Sarah, taste this one. It is just a little wine. It is nothing. That one is not for me.
And every single time, Sarah smiled and said no. Not in a proud way, not with her nose in the air. She would just say softly, "That one is not for me," and go back to her book. She never preached and she never judged her out loud. She simply, gently, again and again declined. But do you know what Natasha heard every single time Sarah said no? She heard, "I am better than you." And Natasha's guilty heart translated it into an insult that landed on her like a slap. And the more Sarah refused, the angrier Natasha became, until the anger stopped about parties altogether. It became about pride. Now she did not just want to change Sarah, she needed to break her. So one evening, sitting with her small circle of friends, Natasha finally poured it all out, and between the four of them, laughing in the dark, a plan was born. That weekend, they came. Natasha and 3 of her friends filed into the room, all smiles, all sweetness, and for once, they did not come with loud music or anything to drink. They came with books. "Sarah, we want to read together," Natasha said, so warmly you would swear she meant it. "You are the sharpest one. Help us small, please. Group reading." And Sarah, God bless her trusting heart, was so happy. Finally they wanted to include her in something good. She cleared her table, brought out her notes, and for over an hour, they actually read. It was nice, it was normal, and Sarah's guard, brick by brick, came down. Then one of the girls stretched and yawned. My brain is full. Let us play something to reset it. Truth or dare?" Everybody cheered. Sarah hesitated. Sarah, it is just a game," Natasha said, laughing. "We are not children. Loosen up small. Or are you too holy to even laugh with your own roommates?" And that word poked exactly where Natasha wanted it to poke. Because Sarah was tired. Tired of always being the odd one. Tired of being the statue in the corner while everybody else got to be human. Just this once, she wanted to belong. So she took a breath and she smiled and she said, "Okay, fine, one game." And that small invitation, my friends, was the door Natasha had been waiting 4 long years to walk through. The game was fun at first. Silly questions, silly dares, everybody laughing. And then, right on cue, one of the girls remembered she had brought something along, and out came a bottle. Sarah froze the second she saw it. No, I don't drink, Sarah, relax." Natasha's voice was pure honey. "We are indoors. It is only us girls. Nobody outside will ever see or hear. And I swear to you, on everything, we will not let you take too much. Just small, so you don't spoil the game for everybody. Are we not your friends?" And Sarah, tired of standing on the outside of every good thing, decided, just this one night, to trust them. She took a little. But the dares did not stop there. "I dare you to finish that cup. I dare you to take one more." Sarah, don't be a coward now. One more. They cheered, they clapped, they kept filling the cup. And Sarah, who had never in her life touched the stuff, whose body had no idea what was happening to it, went down fast, faster than she could understand. The room began to tilt, her words began to slip and slide, and soon the quiet, disciplined pastor's daughter was on her feet in the middle of that room, laughing at nothing, swaying, saying things she would never in her life remember saying. And in the corner, Natasha quietly lifted her phone. She was not laughing along with Sarah. She was recording her, steady, patient, like a hunter watching a trap he set finally snapshot. Now, let me stop right here because I know some of you watching this understand it in your very bones. Have you ever trusted people who were smiling in your face while they were quietly setting a trap under your feet? Have you ever let your guard down just once, just to be accepted, and had the very people you trusted turn around and use it against you? If that is you, do me one favor. Type I can relate in the comments right now, so I know I'm not talking to an empty room. And if you want to see how Sarah turns this whole thing around, and trust me, she does, then tap that subscribe button and help push this channel toward 1,000 subscribers. It is completely free and it means everything. Now, let us continue. The next morning, Sarah woke up with a splitting head and a heavy, sick feeling in her stomach that had nothing to do with the drink. Natasha was already awake, sitting up on her bunk, phone in her hand, smiling. "Good morning, Sister Sarah," she said sweetly, and she turned the phone around and pressed play. Sarah watched herself on that screen and felt her whole soul leave her body. "Whisper it," she whispered. "Natasha, please, I am begging you, delete it." "Of course I would delete it," Natasha said. "Someday, as long as you behave yourself. Now, get up and go and buy me food. I am hungry." And that was how it began. It started small. Buy me food, wash these few clothes, help me with this assignment. And Sarah, drowning in shame and terror, did all of it because in her frightened mind, that video was the end of everything. Her parents' name, the church, the respect of 4 whole years, all of it hanging by one thumb over one delete button. But blackmail is a debt, my friend, and the interest it charges is your entire life. Every small yes Sarah gave became a link in a chain, and every link called for another one. The tasks grew. Buy me food became cook for me and my friends. Help with my assignment became do my whole assignment while I go out and enjoy myself. Sarah became a servant in her own room, running, fetching, cleaning, carrying from morning until night. And slowly, the light in her began to go out. She started missing her own lectures because Natasha would send her on errands right in the middle of class time. Her sharp, beautiful notes grew thin. Dark circles came and sat under her eyes. The girl who was always top of the class began to slip behind. And she could tell no living soul, not her friends, not her parents, because the very moment she opened her mouth, that video would fly. The secret was no longer just something Sarah was hiding. The secret now owned her completely. Then examinations came near, and Natasha made her final, boldest demand. She sat Sarah down one evening, very calm, like a boss addressing a junior worker.
This semester, you are going to read for 2 people. Because I have a small problem, chemistry. I carried it over from 200 level. And if I fail it one more time, I am in real trouble. So you are going to write it for me. Natasha, I don't even offer chemistry. I have never... That is exactly why you will read it. You are the genius, not so? Read it. You will walk in the hall with my matric number and you will pass my paper for me. Simple.
And that right there was the moment the ground shifted under Sarah. Because this was no longer buying food. This was no longer washing clothes. This was a crime that could burn her entire future to ash. Impersonation inside an examination hall, expulsion, public disgrace. In final year, one single step from the finish line, Natasha was calmly asking her to gamble away everything, 4 years, her degree, her whole name, all to protect a 90-second video. If your chest is tight right now, if you are feeling this pressure along with Sarah, then you already understand her completely. So before I show you what she did next, let me quickly ask you this. In the comments, tell me the honest truth. Should Sarah have kept obeying quietly to protect her secret? Or was this the moment to finally fight back, no matter the cost? I truly want to read what you would have done. And if you are enjoying this story, please tap subscribe and help push this channel toward 1,000 subscribers so it can finally cross the line and grow into something real. You clicking that one button might be the very one that gets us there. Okay, let us keep going, because this is where Sarah changed. That night, Sarah could not sleep. She lay on her bunk in the dark, listening to Natasha snore above her, and for the first time in weeks, she stopped panicking and she started thinking. She asked herself one simple question. What exactly is this video holding over my head? And she forced herself to answer it honestly. A video of me one night being drunk, tricked into it, pressured into it, indoors at 21. That was the entire crime. And then a bigger thought came, and it came like light breaking suddenly into a dark room. One night does not delete 21 years. She sat up in the dark. She had spent 21 years being disciplined, being kind, being honest, keeping her word, loving her parents, doing the right thing again and again and again. And she had been ready to pile a criminal act on top of all of it just to hide one mistake that a room full of liars had trapped her into. One mistake did not make her a fraud. It did not make her a bad daughter. It made her a human being. And then came the thought that broke every chain at once. This video only has power because I am hiding it. The moment I stop hiding it, it's worth nothing. You cannot be blackmailed with a truth you are willing to tell yourself. So the next morning, Sarah did the bravest thing she had ever done in her whole life. She walked across the campus to the small office where her father worked. She called her mother to come and join them there, and she sat those two pastors down, her heart pounding so loud she could hear it in her own ears, and she told them everything. The party, the pressure, the drink, the video, the weeks of being a slave inside her own room, and the exam, the crime Natasha was now demanding from her. And then she braced herself for the world to end. But the world did not end. Her parents were quiet for a long moment. Then her mother, of all things, let out a small, tired laugh and reached over and took her hand. And her father shook his head slowly, and there was no thunder in his face at all. No fire, only love. "My daughter," he said, "you think your mother and I came down from heaven? You think we were born inside this church holding microphones?" He smiled, a little sad, a little amused. "We were young ones too. We made our own foolish mistakes, worse than this one, believe me. Falling down one time is not the sin. Every single person alive has stumbled." Then his face grew serious, and he said the thing Sarah would remember for the rest of her life. "The sin," he said quietly, "would have been to let one small stumble frighten you into building your whole life on a lie, to become a criminal, to throw away your future, all because you are too afraid to simply come home and tell the truth. A person who falls and gets back up is not disgraced. It is the person who lies and lies and lies again to hide the fall who finally destroys themselves. You did not do that. You came home. You told the truth. And that, my child, is exactly why I am proud of you today." And just like that, in one honest conversation, the 90-second video that had ruled Sarah's whole life for weeks became nothing. Nothing at all. Just a small, embarrassing memory inside a family that already knew and had already forgiven. The chain was broken. Sarah walked out of that office a free woman. But freedom, my friend, brings its own test. Because now, Sarah was not only free, she was angry. And she had every right to be. Weeks of servitude, weeks of fear, missed lectures, ruined notes, stolen peace, all because of one girl's wickedness. And now, finally, the power was sitting in her own two hands. And she saw very clearly exactly how to use it. Natasha was depending on Sarah to write that chemistry exam, depending on it completely. She had not read one single page. Why would she? She had a genius doing it for her. So all Sarah had to do to pay Natasha back for everything was one simple thing. Nothing. If Sarah simply did not show up, if she just quietly vanished on the morning of that exam, Natasha would sit and wait for a rescue that was never, ever coming. She would miss the paper entirely, she would fail her carryover again, and she would be forced to spend one extra year rotting in that school alone while everybody she knew graduated and moved on with their lives. It was perfect, it was poetic, and Sarah, in her anger, decided to do exactly that. So, on the morning of Natasha's chemistry exam, Sarah watched and she waited, and true to her nature, Natasha was not even worried. She was lounging around the room, laughing on the phone, playing loud music, completely relaxed, so certain that her problem was already solved. So Sarah quietly picked up her own books, slipped out of the room, and walked to the library to sit and read her own papers and let the clock run all the way down on Natasha's future. She found a seat. She opened her book, and she watched the minutes tick past, each one carrying Natasha closer and closer to automatic failure. But a few minutes in, sitting there in that quiet library, something began to happen inside Sarah's chest. She looked down at her own hands and she asked herself one more honest question. If I sit here and I let her drown and I smile while I do it, then what exactly is the difference between me and Natasha? That question stopped her cold. Because think about it. Natasha's entire sickness was this one thing. She used other people's weakness as a weapon. She smiled while somebody else suffered. She turned another person's downfall into her entertainment. And here was Sarah about to do the very same thing, to sit in a library, calm and clever, and use Natasha's ruin to make herself feel powerful. And in that moment, Sarah understood something that too many people never learn in their whole lives. You do not defeat a snake by becoming a snake. The moment you use another person's destruction to feel strong, you have crossed over and joined them. You have simply become a nicer looking version of the same wicked thing. Sarah closed her book. She stood up, walked out of that library, and went straight back to the room. Natasha was still there, still laughing, still comfortable, still waiting for her rescue. Sarah stood in the doorway and looked at her, and this time there was no fear left anywhere in her eyes. "Natasha," she said, and her voice was calm and clear and completely free. "I told my parents everything, the party, the video, all of it. They already know. They have already forgiven me. So that thing on your phone, post it, send it to whoever you like. It is worthless now. It cannot touch me." Natasha's smile fell off her face like something breaking on the floor. "And that chemistry exam," Sarah continued, "I am not writing it. I was never going to write it. I am not going to turn myself into a criminal to fix a problem that you created for yourself. So if you have any sense left at all in your head, I suggest you get up right now and go and write your own paper by yourself before that hall closes its doors, because nobody is coming to save you. Not anymore." For a long moment, Natasha could not move. She sat frozen, watching the entire ground of her plan collapse beneath her. No leverage, no power, no genius to write her exam. And worst of all, she suddenly remembered with cold horror that she herself had not read one single page. She had been so sure someone else would carry her that she had prepared absolutely nothing. She scrambled, she grabbed her things and ran. But you cannot pour 200 level chemistry into your head in the last few minutes of an exam you never once studied for. Natasha sat in that hall, staring down at questions she could not begin to answer, and she failed her carryover. Again. And so, it was Natasha, not Sarah, who spent one extra year in that school. The very trap she had built to escape her failure turned out to be the exact thing that sealed it. As for Sarah, she finished her final year on time, with her degree, her name, and her parents' trust, all still intact. The light came back into her eyes. Her notes grew sharp again. She graduated and walked into her future clean, owing nobody, hiding nothing, afraid of no video, no secret, or no threat ever again. Because she had learned the one thing that sets a person free forever. Sarah had not fought. She had not screamed. She had not even taken her revenge when it was sitting right there, ready in the palm of her hand. She had simply told the truth, refused to become the very thing that hurt her, and then stepped aside and let Natasha collapse under the full weight of her own wickedness. Remember this, a secret only has teeth in the dark. The moment you carry it out into the light, it turns into nothing more than a story you survived. So never let one stumble frighten you into a lifetime of hiding. And never ever let anybody convince you that your worst night is louder than all of your best years. Thank you, from the very bottom of my heart, for staying with me to the end of this one. It truly means everything that you sat through the whole story. If Sarah's courage moved you tonight, do 2 quick things for me. First, if you enjoyed this story and you want to see more like it, tap that subscribe button and help me reach 1,000 subscribers so I can finally grow this little channel into something real. It's completely free and it would mean the whole world to me. And second, if you have ever had to break free from someone holding a secret over your head or from a fake friend who only ever smiled at you so they could use you,
Tell your own story in the comments or simply type "I can relate" and let us see how many of us there really are. Lastly, do not go anywhere just yet. There's another story waiting for you right now, right there on your screen. One that I picked myself, just for you, about justice that shows up at the exact right moment.
Go ahead and tap on it. I promise you it is worth every single minute. See you on the other side.